I've tried many different seed starting setups over the past 4 years. And in today's video, I'm going to show you what I think is the best one yet. I will be turning this old workshop into this seed starting oasis. So for this setup, I wanted to be able to put the grow lights as close to the seed trays as possible and be able to raise or lower them. I wanted everything to be on a timer so I didn't have to manually come downstairs and actually turn on the lights at the required time. I tried quite a few shelves over the past few years. Last year, I tried these wired shelves off Amazon. The wired shelves, you can actually hang the grow lights on almost any part of the shelf. And because it was wired, the light actually could reflect through the shelf and onto the next shelf below. The setup is really simple. All you do is take these two clamps. So you clamp them onto the four corners where you want the shelf to lie. Slide the shelf on. The tension and the weight on the shelf will actually hold it in place. I've got my shelves 19 inches apart, and that's because last year my tomato plants outgrew the shelf distance and they were touching my grow lights. At the bottom of the shelves, there's adjustable feet. So if you have uneven floors, you're able to balance the whole shelf. My house is built in 1971, so yeah, things have moved. Now let's talk about the most important part, the grow lights. In my first year of growing, I used some 900 watts full spectrum flies-on grow lights, but I didn't like how far apart they were from the seed trays. They had to be 24 inches away. I just found that it was using a lot of space on the shelf. Last year, I experimented with a few different grow lights. I used a 2200, 6500 Kelvin, and then the other one's a 5000 lumen, 6500 Kelvin shop light as well. The reason I used these was both of them were able to go extremely close to the seed starting tray, pretty much as close as you wanted, and they didn't burn the plants. So they didn't take up nearly as much valuable shelf space. Both the lumens and the Kelvins are a much bigger topic, so I will be making a separate video. And this year I'm using the same three grow lights, but I'm going to be adding a Brina full spectrum grow light and testing it out, seeing if there's any difference. The plan for these shelves is I want to put the 900 watt flies-in on the very bottom, and then the 2200 lumen grow lights on one of the shelves and the 5000 lumen on the other shelf. To hang my grow lights, I ended up buying these pulley style hangers that are adjustable. The grow lights came with these clips that snap onto the grow lights themselves on both ends, but the pulleys couldn't attach to these clips very well. I did have to MacGyver at least the loops with this small wire, and I put them through the holes on the clips on the top and then snap them into the actual grow light themselves. To attach your grow lights together, I found most of these LED grow lights have the same connecting points. It's just a 3-pin plug-in. Power goes to your first light, and then from the other end, it jumpers to your next light, and then jumpers to the next shelf. For my air movement, I bought these clip-on fans last year. All you do is clip them onto the shelf pole and angle them to what you need. Plug them into my timer, and when the grow lights turn on, the fans turn on at the same time. One thing I do further, I use timers to automate everything, turn on the grow lights, the fans, the heat mats, and turn everything off. I use a brand called Casa Smart's Wi-Fi plug. I plug it into the wall to get the power, and then I plug the extension cord into the Casa Smarts, which will operate the whole seed starting setup. I recommend using a timer to turn everything on and off, just so you don't have to manually do it. There's been many circumstances before this timer where I would forget to turn everything off, and it gives you more flexibility. For my seed trays, I've got a very wide variety of them. One of the main problems I had last year was I grew way too many things. I started them all in the smallest seed tray possible, which was fine. It was to save space. That was the theory of it, but everything outgrew the seed trays real quick. I ended up having to pot up far too many times, seemed like every single day. This year I'm starting most of my seeds into bigger trays. The only exception is if I'm planning to transplant them outdoors, I'm just going to put them in the small seed trays and then plop them right into the ground within 1 to 2 weeks. The main 3 seed trays I'm going to be using this year are red solo cups, 32 seed cell tray, and then these standalone single seed trays. And I'm going to be using a base tray. I always bottom water, and humidity dome until your seeds germinate. For the heat mats, they're really the only thing that needs to be turned on the whole time while your seeds are germinating. The main reasons to use a heat mat is to increase the overall germination rate. So you're going to have better success with your germination, and it speeds up the time, speeds up the germination process. To be honest, I haven't really used them too much over the past few years, but this year I'm going to be experimenting with them. I'm still going to use a timer for my heat mats, and that's just so I can check to make sure that they're actually turned on. To use your heat mat, just put your seed trays right on top of it and leave it on until your seeds have germinated. So on the very top, I've got seed storage containers. They're just old VHS holders. They fit the seed packages really nicely, so I just put them in. There's 16 VHS holders per container, and I have these all labeled and organized in the very top, so I just pull the tray down, whatever I'm growing, whatever I'm starting. I've got the workbench right behind the shelf, and that's where I'm going to be starting all the seeds that I'm going to be using. This is more of a last minute addition to the seed starting setup. I read about this stuff called mylar film or mylar tape, and it's supposed to be really reflective. I've always got a main goal that I want to learn each growing season, and this year is to reflect as much lost light from the grow lights back onto my seeds. All I'm planning to do is put the mylar tape onto a thin piece of wood and then put that wood behind the seed starting shelves just so the piece of wood could be moved around. Not sure if it'll work or not. My hopes is to bounce some of the lost light back onto the plants and help them grow. Now that you know the absolute best seed starting setup, would you like to find out when you should plant 33 of the world's most popular vegetables, no matter where you live? Watch this video next to find out how. Love you, bye.